I'm going to show you something that is going to completely change the way you're watching Bitcoin, but primarily also Ethereum. Now, whatever happens to Ethereum is probably going to be happening to Bitcoin, I believe, and Ethereum right now is showing a beautiful amount of strength right here. Look at that. It's just breaking out of its bearish descending triangle that it's been in for quite a while. This is actually a video I wanted to make last night, but I just didn't have a chance. And take a look at this. We've got a lot of strength coming in for Ethereum against Bitcoin right now. It bounced off perfectly from my support zones, now closing in on my resistance zone. I'll talk about all of this in just a minute, but what I really want to focus your attention on right now is something that's potentially indicating Ethereum rallying up to the mid $3,000 level, or potentially way higher, 5, 10K, whatever. And I'm going to show you how I came to these numbers. Now, the first key thing that I want you guys to keep in mind is if we take a look at this chart on a fresh chart that I haven't drawn anything on, there's a specific thing that I think is very important to talk about, and it's to do with candles, individual candles. You know, there's a lot of different analysis you can do. You can do support resistance lines, you can do, whatever, indicators and so on. But one of the key forms of analysis that I really enjoy is just candlestick analysis. And we have something called bullish engulfing candles patterns, where what you see in the chart sometimes is that one candle actually stretches longer than the previous candle, which is to say, like, something a little bit more like this, where you have one candle here, which you'll see I'm about to point out to you, eclipses the previous candles of price action, right? So this green candle right here, in one candle, erases the past 1, 2, 3 potentially bearish candles that the price action saw. We're in the same position right now, right? Take a look at this. Within this one weekly candle, right? This weekly candle started, today's Friday, this weekly candle started 5 days ago. Within this one weekly candle, we have fully eclipsed the candle bodies of the past 1, 2, 3, and 4 candles now. That is a lot of eclipsing for one candle, right? And the thing is this is not, like, it's almost a little bit too early to talk about this because it's Friday. This is the reason I didn't make the video yesterday when I saw this is, you know, ideally you want to be talking about this stuff on the Sunday or even the following Monday when the candle is completed. But this is a really important note, because having a large weekly candle that eclipses previous candles shows you a significant change in momentum, which I will also point out to you in just a minute. But the reason that I think this is so important is if you actually look back at previous instances where Ethereum actually managed to pull off something like this, just where it had really nice bullish engulfing candles after being in a downtrend, we generally tended to see really big price explosions. Again, like I said, this stuff is only really valid when it comes to the end of the week, because that is where you actually have the full data for the candle, right? I mean, this candle, it's Friday today. This can easily shit the bed and drop by $1,000. Even anything can happen, right? But, broadly speaking, I would expect now, I mean, what percent through the week? It's like 70-80% through the week or something. I'm not really expecting anything too crazy to happen now. But, you know, if we take a look at, I mean, and I'm just going to eyeball this. I have a few instances that I want to show you guys specifically, but take a look at this right here. Ethereum enters a small downtrend for 3 weeks when it reaches its high of $4,000 right here for the second time. This was in summer of last year, in August, at the end of August, actually. We enter a small downtrend here, which lasts about 3 weeks. It takes the price from high to low down by 34% within about 24 days. But this weekly candle right here actually engulfs the previous candle. So this is very much what I was showing you previously, like with these kind of charts, just kind of showing you what these bullish engulfing candles mean, is that they're actually that they're basically eclipsing the previous candle completely. That's what happens right here. This candle completely eclipses that candle, and basically the reason this is important is it shows us on a very large time frame that this market wants to start blowing up. I think this is really important right now because just look at how much we've been trending down, right? We've only really had, in my opinion, one real relief rally, and that was from this low. I know you can't see the price, but it's at 2,000. There you go. It's at $2,176 all the way up to this high at 3,260. And if we measure this right here, this is a 51% rally within about 14 days, right? So an extremely intense rally to be seeing to the upside, potentially indicating here that we are looking at quite an explosive move to the upside, right? That was one relief rally, but we haven't had a sustained one, right? This has been quite a sustained downtrend. If we measure this in terms of time from the high to where we are right now, it's been 126 days, 4 entire months that we've been continuously trending down in this market. And, you know, generally after such a large timescale dump, I would be expecting some sort of relief rally that actually lasts a long time, perhaps even a multi-month rally. Maybe we rally up for a couple months going into, what is this, the end of May, early June, something like that. and then maybe the downtrend continues, or maybe we blast off to the upside. I mean, I can't see that far into the future, but I can't see into the future at all. I'm just looking at probabilities. That's what real trading and analysis looks like. I know that a lot of people have a problem with that because they just want to come to YouTube videos and get, you know, some daft guy rubbing a crystal ball and telling you that it's definitely going in one direction. But obviously that's not what this channel is about. We're actually real, genuine analysts here, and part of that unfortunately means that it's not as sensationalist as you see on other YouTube channels. And if you do appreciate how this channel is so much more grounded than the rest, do me a favor and just smash up the likes real quick as you're watching this YouTube video. Subscribe to the channel as well if you are enjoying this content so far and you haven't done so already, because, you know, like I said, seeing a bit of a relief rally right now after such an intense downtrend does make sense. You know, another key factor is if we kind of look at how this dump has been moving, I almost feel like it's kind of lost a bit of momentum, right? I'm just drawing two lines here as potential lines of best fit just to demonstrate to you guys, you know, and I'm just going to shorten this line so it looks roughly the same. You know, to me, this is looking like the first sell-off was a little bit steeper than the second sell-off that we're in right now. And I mean, you can actually draw this line in several different ways because, you know, we've now pumped up quite a bit. So maybe the line of best fit is going to be a little bit higher. And the overall point here, just using these very crudely drawn lines, is to show you that, to me, it certainly looks like the dump is losing intensity right now, that we're actually losing intensity in this sell-off. And I can actually demonstrate that to you very, very clearly without any room for ambiguity if we look at the RSI. Take a look at the RSI right here, where we can see quite clearly now that the RSI was moving down for quite a while, indicating, because this is a relative strength index, RSI means relative strength index, if it's moving down, it means that the market is losing strength, right? And so if we're losing strength, but then the RSI starts to kind of level out and in fact trend higher, look at this, it's trending higher right here. If the RSI is kind of trending higher with the upper trend line, the lower one is the one you want to focus on. You know, that's actually showing us that maybe the market is gaining strength, and so that's called a bullish divergence. So the RSI is actually showing this to us, that where the market had a lot of momentum towards the downside previously, it now no longer has that momentum, and that momentum is actually shifting to the upside right now. Does this mean that we can't continue trending down? Absolutely not, but it's still something absolutely critical that I certainly want to be paying attention to at a critical time in the market like this. Smash up the likes if you're enjoying this video so far. You know, one of the other things that really got me interested in this, and I'm going to show you all the previous examples before, by the way, it is going to blow your mind. Just stick with me for this while I break down some other key things right here. Is the fear and greed index, right? If we take a look at the fear and greed index right here, yesterday, when we first started to get a little bit of a pump for the first time in a while, we were at a reading of 27, but today, 25. We're still in extreme fear territories, right? The market is very bearish. It's not actually believing this rally. You know, the market is just straight up not even buying the hype right now. And I mean, if we see, you know, we've seen a significant development for Ethereum today, right? I mean, to me, this is a pretty big deal. You know, these two hourly candles right here, these are massive, you know, lightsabers to the upside right here. This definitely might convince a lot of people, but it might not. And the last ones didn't convince a lot of people, right? And so if we start to see that sentiment remains quite bearish, well, then to me, that's going to continue to indicate that we actually have a little bit more upside potential to go, right? Look at this, how the volume really coming in on the pump as well. Really very, very exciting price action. I'll probably even do a live stream for you guys later on tomorrow. So if you're excited for that and you want to see that, then do me a favor and smash up the likes to let me know that you do want to see a live stream on this very price action right here. It definitely looks quite exciting. And it looks to me like we're not even losing momentum on the short-term time frame, right? Previously, when we were topping out in these ranges right here, you can see that the market was really losing momentum, and this is even better shown on this chart right here where I already have my lines drawn. You know, see we had our big pump right here and it was quite an explosive pump, but then you can see it really started to slow down again. If I use these lines just to demonstrate to you guys the gradient of attack that the market had as it was rising up, just the steepness with which it was rising higher, you can see pretty clearly the market was rising higher previously, and then it really started to slow down. That is a shift in momentum. Again, we can see this on the RSI, right? So you know that I'm not pulling this out of my ass and I'm not actually making this up. You can see the RSI jumps up right here. The RSI really, really shoots up right here, but as soon as it reaches this kind of price area, watch the RSI at the bottom of your screen. We're still rising up, but that RSI is dropping like a stone. That RSI is getting dropped faster than the fat chick at the club in Ibiza when you're starting to sober up. And you know, we're not getting that right now. Let's actually take a look at the RSI for what's happening right now. Again, just to give us a bit of a gauge of the momentum. Wait for this to load up. I mean, we are starting to level out for sure, but we're not actually losing strength right now. And I think that's really, really important. You know, previously when we were hitting this red line, when we were even hitting this green box, we really very clearly were losing momentum in the market. We're not showing those signs yet. We're even gaining volume as we're challenging this upside right now. I'm not saying, again, that this is a foolproof reason for why Ethereum is definitely rising up, but it certainly, to me, is a good bullish sign, and it's something that we didn't have before. You couple that with the fear and greed index. You know, you guys who watch this channel regularly, you're hopefully really going to be painting, getting a very clear image painted in your mind right here, where when we're making these kind of conclusions, we're doing them we're doing them by pulling a bunch of different ideas from all sorts of different directions together, because that's how we know that we have sound analysis, right? When you pull one idea from there and another from there and another from there, you know, and they all tell you the same thing, you have what's called confluence, right? In technical analysis, we call it confluence. When you have multiple different tools and indicators and signs showing you, pointing to the very same thing, you have confluence, you have general agreement for the same idea, and that's just generally going to make you more likely to be correct. You know, one of the other things that I even caught myself in was when I first started seeing Ethereum rise up to that resistance area, I was saying, wow, this is finally going to happen. We're finally going to get a rejection here. And then I caught myself wondering, why was I so certain about that? Seriously, because like I'm a human too, right? I'm a normal trader. If you join 𝗪𝗪𝗡𝗧 VIP, if you're already in there, you already know the deal. Like I'm a human, right? I'm not a robot. I'm not a god tier trader. I'm not a terrible trader. I consider myself to be pretty good overall, and you know, I caught myself in that logical trap, and I was like, well, shit, okay, you know, the market's playing games on my head. If you want to jump inside of VIP and see how that's been moving, then go ahead by following these links, these clicks on screen, and I'll see you on the other side. And by the way, if you like free money, just like everyone else does, then check out the link to Bybit in the description down below. This is the only exchange that I use, and I love them to bits. You can sign up using that link in the description and get some free cash for it, so definitely check it out. All you got to do is sign up using my link and make your first deposit, so definitely do that if you like getting free money, which you can trade with. You can do whatever you like with it. Very, very cool stuff. So again, even on the short term, this looking good, but I'm going to stop teasing you guys. You know, the key thing that I found extremely bullish on this chart, again, let's just pull up the Kraken chart once more, is actually what's happening right here on the weekly time frame. Because if we take a look at the weekly time frame and how Ethereum has been moving within its downtrends, I mean, you know, it's quite consistent. Whenever Ethereum managed to pull off bullish engulfing candles within a downtrend, it actually did fairly well. You know, and especially when it engulfs more than one candle, right? So over here, the market has now engulfed, like I showed you, you know, the past 4 weeks of trading. That is a big bloody deal, guys. I can't really stress this enough. That is 28 days of price. I know it says 21, but that's 28 days in total of price action that Ethereum within 1 week has totally reversed, right? You know this, like psychologically, that's a big deal, right? I mean, if it's taking a coin, or let's say a person, a really long time to crack something, and then suddenly they have a massive breakthrough and they're just flying and doing really well, that's showing you that something has changed, that something critical is going on, and you can choose to ignore it, but you might miss out on potentially very large gains, right? Let me find you another example. The key examples that I want to focus your attention on right here are the ones that we're seeing within downtrends. I've seen quite a few, but they're now all escaping me, which is the natural thing that happens when I'm live on video, of course, just anything to be annoying. But here's another great example right here with this weekly candle, where you can see going back now, I'm going to have to cast your memory back if you were here in 2020 after the March coronavirus market crash. Ethereum managed to rally up to about $500 and fell all the way down to 313. It entered a little bit of a downtrend which lasted a fair amount of time. I mean, until this bullish engulfing candle, there was about a month solid, a little bit more than a month of solidly trending down. But this one candle right here erases the past 1, 2, 3 potentially. I mean, I'm being generous here, but yeah, it did still, if you look at where the candle closes, it did still close above this candle right here and this candle right here. That means one candle within 1 week reversed the past 4 weeks of price action. And of course, what happened next? Well, it's history. I mean, Ethereum blew up, massively blew up from from its original high of 370. It didn't really stop rallying until, yeah, it's getting pretty crazy. It didn't really stop rallying until it reached a high of 4,300. It pulled more than a 10 times gain from there. I'm not saying Ethereum's going to do that right now. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I know that some of you guys are already grabbing out that lotion. You are very keen. Calm down, Tiger. We're not getting that fast. We're not getting that high that quick. But it's certainly a very good sign. It's certainly a very exciting sign because, you know, if I keep showing you these kind of examples, you'll see like it's consistent. When Ethereum forms these bullish engulfing candles, it tends to do very, very well. Let me show you another example right here. Let me screen for them. I mean, you could say that these are examples as well, but I don't really want to count this as a bullish engulfing candle because this candle doesn't actually trade as low as the other one, so it's not as significant in terms of showing as a key major market reversal. Here's another really good one though. Here's another beautiful one, very similar to what we're in right now, and I'm just gonna pull our current chart side by side with this in a minute, and it's gonna blow your mind. I mean, I was seeing this while smoking shisha with a friend last night, and I was blown away by how clear this is, staring me in the face. You know, this one bullish engulfing candle right here eclipsing the previous 3 candles before it, and then again, I mean, from that point where it eclipses those candles, if we just kind of measure how high it rallies before, you know, topping out majorly, that's a 40% move to the upside. You know, if I now just bring us back to, actually I'm not going to do that yet, let's just take a look at even more examples to see, you know, even more evidence of just how strong this has been for Ethereum throughout its price history. We're now going really far back to before I was even in the market. I joined early 2017. We're now looking at the chart back in 2016, and there are even more examples here of Ethereum forming beautiful bullish engulfing candles on the weekly time frame. Here's another example right here with this candle, where you can see that this one bullish candle eclipses the past 1, 2, 3 candles of trading. The past 21 days of trading, we completely write it off within 1 week. And again, you know, from that point where we formed the bullish engulfing candle originally to the next high that Ethereum sets, that's a 30% move to the upside, right? I know it's not huge, it's not absolutely crazy in some of these instances, but it's still a pretty big deal, right? Here's another example where it happens at a market bottom, where Ethereum bottoms out at $7. Imagine that. Imagine buying it at $7. It ends up forming a beautiful engulfing candle here. It nearly even engulfs the second candle, but it doesn't quite have enough strength to do that. But from that point where it engulfs the previous candle right here, we end up seeing an immediate 50% rise within the next 2 weeks. But actually, it goes significantly higher. I'm not even going to do the math on this because I'm going to get depressed and you're going to get depressed because I know we both didn't buy Ethereum down there. But I think you get the point very, very well, right? These engulfing candles are a big deal for this market. Let's actually see if there's another one down here. I haven't actually looked this far back, but yeah, not really. I mean, you could say this is an engulfing candle for sure. This engulfing candle, yeah, pretty much manages to eclipse the past 2 candles. And then, of course, Ethereum rallies quite nicely up 20% from there. Or, I mean, if you are willing to include this price action, then again, I mean, it turns into an absolutely insane pump, which I'm not going to calculate because we're both going to be depressed and I'm trying to be in a good mood today. So, you know, when I bring us back to the price action today, after showing you guys all of those engulfing candles, this is where it really becomes mind-blowing for me, is that if you look at everything I've just shown you and now look at what we're in right now, this is exactly the same pattern that we've seen before when the market continues rallying up by quite significant amounts. I mean, if from here we pump up by, you know, 30-40%, which is quite feasible considering what we've seen in the past. I mean, that puts Ethereum at $4,000, $3,500 very conservatively if it only manages to pump up, you know, around another 20% from here. If it's going to do a massive rally, which it certainly could do, I'm not saying it won't. I mean, I don't know if it's probable. I mean, look, let's cross each bridge when it comes, kind of thing, right? I don't want to talk about all-time highs yet, but I certainly think that they're on the table. You know, these are the kind of setups that can really give us those opportunities. And so, you know, one of the key things I want to see right now is, and by the way, this also relates massively to Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is forming a similar engulfing candle setup right here. You know, its engulfing candles are also important. I would say less important than Ethereum, but still critical, because one of the key things you guys need to keep in mind right now, ladies and gents, is that, you know, I'm talking about Ethereum in this whole video, but it's not just Ethereum, right? I mean, if Ethereum is going to be pulling something like this off, then most likely I would expect Bitcoin to do the same as well, because I just don't see a reality where Ethereum is massively pumping off in the sky and Bitcoin is staying exactly where it is. I mean, sometimes that does happen in some small ways, but you know, that's where we actually start looking at the Ethereum Bitcoin chart, which I mentioned that I'd show you guys a little bit later on. And if we take a look at this chart right here, I mean, look at it just rising so hard off the support level that I was outlining for you all on this YouTube channel. Those of you who were subscribed will know all about this. We were watching this very closely. I've been watching it for a long time, you know, in this market right here, and it is now approaching this very same area of resistance where it's topped out many times before along this blue line. It's actually a little bit silly how reliable this has been. This is one of the best pieces of analysis I feel like I've given over the past year, because it's just been 100% accurate with this breakout exception right here. Although I don't want to say I saw it coming, but I was able to at least benefit from it You know, I do think that, yeah, these blue lines have come in just absolutely clutch. This yellow line as well, looking beautiful. The next key support that I'm seeing for Ethereum is going to be a fair bit lower, around the 0.58 level against Bitcoin, basically showing us that, you know, I could expect Ethereum to drop against Bitcoin down by this much. You know, just because that's where support is if this thing does continue to get nuked down. I don't necessarily think that that's what we are seeing here, but you know, the thing I want you guys to keep in mind is that we are pretty much trading right up to the apex right now of this symmetrical triangle, and generally we don't get to trade up to the apex. So you know, each individual hit of these levels now are even more critical than they ever were before, in my opinion, because now is when we need a breakout, right? I mean, this thing has been consolidating since bloody May of last year. That is nearly a whole year of consolidation within a symmetrical triangle with one fake out. You know, I mean, this is going to have to pull something special out of the hat very, very soon, whether that means a beautiful breakout to the upside or a depressing breakdown to the downside. You know, one of them is going to have to happen relatively soon, so I'm just putting this on your radar as well. Obviously, right now, it looks like we are potentially pushing the upside just a little bit more, but, you know, I think these are some very, very important things to keep in mind. You know, I cannot ignore it when we see such a big shift in momentum like this, where the previous weeks don't really have anything going on, and then bam, 1 week everything reverses. That is something which I personally just can't ignore as a technical analyst who's been doing this for, oh, I think it has been 5 years now, actually, because I joined in March 2017. So maybe it has actually been 5 years now. I don't remember the exact date. But, you know, from all of that time in these markets, you know, these are the kind of things that I like to take very, very seriously right now in this space. So, guys, I hope you have enjoyed this video of me giving you guys some of my thoughts on Ethereum. It's definitely probably not what a lot of you expected, but it's what I'm seeing in this market. And if you did find this video useful, then do me a favor and smash up those likes. Subscribe to the channel if you're new around here as well. If you want to jump inside of 𝗬𝗙𝗧𝗜𝗍𝗓 VIP and watch me trading this market in real time whenever I do, telling you absolutely everything I'm doing and why I'm doing it, alongside also gaining access into our 𝗬𝗙𝗧𝗜𝗍𝗓 Academy courses, where I'm going to be teaching you how to trade and analyze these markets from A to Z. We're going to break down all of the bad things that you've been taught and build very, very strong foundations on top of them, on top of, you know, a new blank slate, as well as building you up into very, very powerful, competent traders in this market. If that sounds like something appealing to you, if you want to be able to do that right now, where you're not going to get a payoff immediately, but you're going to be prepared for when the next rally comes, which means you're going to be the next guy making potentially ridiculous gains, then again, these are the steps on screen right now. You know, ladies and gents, it is the people who take advantage of opportunities like this now that end up being ridiculously rich later on, right? Obviously, right now, the volatility is quite low, but if you're spending this time educating yourself, and by the way, I'm reading my books now as well, like I'm right back in the books. You never stop educating yourself as a trader. That's just one reality of it. Anyone that tells you otherwise is talking straight shit. You know, if you are interested in joining me on that journey, and of course, also gaining access to what I've put out, then again, those steps are on screen right here. And one final time, if you do want to sign up to Bybit and get some free cash deposited into your account, then you can do so by following the link in the description down below, making your first deposit, signing up and making your first deposit, and you'll get that free cash credited into your account. Anyway, I really hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, you know what to do, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.